Hey, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Case openings? Case openings? Wait.
Ton of money from
is that
hold on, it's my closing
they
thought.
actually everyone's saying they ran out of 3 because they feel it's profitable.
Yo, welcome back to episode 25 of the Catalyst Effect podcast. As always, I'm your host, Klaus, and with me is my boy Crypto Hado and Missy, my co-host of the show. And today, guys, we have a super special episode for you guys. We have our friend Simon Vieda returning back to the show from MixMob's, man. Super excited to have you on the show, Simon. What is up, man? How you've been? Welcome back, by the way.
Gentlemen, it's a absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having us again. Thanks so much for having me. I love what you guys are doing. It's a beautiful day here in Canada, Vancouver, Canada, and it makes it doubly special when we're talking, chatting, all things crypto, all things MixMob, and pumped to be here, guys.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. And we're super excited too for what you guys have upcoming. You guys have a lot of updates that we're gonna get into in this show. I know you guys just did like a super alpha spaces not too long ago. So we're definitely gonna talk a little bit about that as well. But anyways, welcome everyone that's in the chat or in the crowd. Thank you so much for being here live with us. Like I said, we have Simon from MixMob's in here with us. We're gonna get into a super cool conversation. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Wagme Games. Thank you so much. They are the sponsors of today's episodes, and we'll tell you a little bit more about them a bit later in the show. But let's get into it, man. Simon, I'm super hyped to get caught up with all the new changes. But before we do that, I wanted to throw it back a little bit for any new listeners that's out there or joining us today. Can you give us a little bit of background in MixMobs, right? What is MixMobs? What type of game is it? And what is the overall vision that you guys are trying to accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody that is listening, welcome to the show. And if you don't know about MixMob, MixMob is a card strategy racing game, the world's first card strategy racing game. So we wanted to bring something innovative into the space. And this is a type of game that you don't see even in Web 2. We wanted to do something original, something special. And the best way to describe it is picture Mario Kart meets Clash Royale. So the best of racing with the best of cards and strategy and a layer of DeFi and crypto. So we're super pumped about that. And it's all wrapped into a super cool lore, which is what would you do if an AI deleted our entire culture? So no more culture in our world. And this is where everything started. And we built this, we build these robots to fight the AI. But before we fight the AI, we've raced them. So that's why our first game is a robot racing game with cards. And we've been building for 2.5 years. We've backed by some of the top crypto and VCs in the space. We have an incredible community, top partners, and pumped to be here, guys. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for that, man. That is an awesome backstory on the game. And I gotta say, one of my favorite part about MixMobs every time I log in to play it is the amount of reference that you guys have to pop culture within the world, right? Like you look around, you see all the graffitis, and like it gives you this very like sinister look, right? Like you can tell you're in this world that has been run down by some type of like technology or something, and now
Right.
you're kind of just like trying to survive this world and be in it, right? But as far as like the gameplays goes, the best way I can describe it for the current game that you guys have, right, which is the Racer One game, is if you're a new player and you're gonna get into it and you want something to expect, it's kind of like Mario Kart with TCG components into it, right? TCG mechanics. You're gonna have this cars or like power ups that you're gonna collect as you're racing, and then you're gonna have to strategically use them to get ahead of your competitor or ahead of your enemy that you're PvPing in the moment. Now, one of the coolest part that I find about the game is the wagering system that you guys have, right? Like the
Mhm.
fact that you can have players versus players, but spice it up a little bit more by you know wagering some of the tokens that you have within the game, right? Some of the in-game currency in there, and making it that much more riskier and bringing out that side of competitiveness, right? Can you touch a little bit on that? Like, where did that background come from, right? Like, what made you guys want to explore that within this type of game, right? Because obviously a lot of people have played Mario Kart in the past, right? But like, I don't think anybody saw that game as a level of competitiveness where you can be doing like wagering and like, wager matches and stuff like that. So I really really enjoyed that you guys went that route with MixMob's. Can you touch a little bit on how you got there?
Totally. And Clouds, you nailed it, man. It's the you said it so well. And to touch on what you're saying, what we did is before we even started building MixMob, we did a huge user research and survey with between the crypto ecosystem and our community. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to really understand what people wanted and needed in the space. And we interviewed and surveyed about 2,500 people. This was, remember, 2.5 years ago. And this is how we like to develop games. And what we realized is that people in the crypto gaming space, players particularly, they wanted games that were more competitive, more synchronous. Remember, at the time, the games that existed were very asynchronous, and so players wanted something that was more synchronous, more exciting, more fast paced, and so the our solve for that was the raising component. Now, the other part that players wanted, and they said they wanted and needed, was they love the idea in the blockchain of owning your assets, of owning your cards. And remember, a lot of games at the time were very card based. So we're like, okay, what if we mix these two things? And so that's why card strategy racing game. And then the other part is players really love to make money, right? They that was the one biggest part of it, and so they wanted to make money, but they also were one of the biggest pain points is that the games at the time were not sustainable, right?
Mhm.
So I come from Electronic Arts, from FIFA. I worked there for many years. I worked at PokerStars as well for many years. And so what I understand from my side is one way to make money in games that is sustainable is the real money gaming or skill-based gaming. And so we said, okay, what if we can solve all the problems that the crypto gamers have? What if we bring racing and synchronous racing that is exciting, adrenaline, and twitchable? What if we merge it with cards? And what if we wrap it all around a real money, real skill-based game, but with crypto? And that's how MixMob was born, and MixMob Razor One particularly. So I hope that gives you a bit of insight into why this is, and people are loving it. We've been testing this for 2 years, and I is our belief, our thesis is that most games are gonna go that route.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, you hit it right on the nail, right? Like, it's such a friendly concept for gamers, especially any gamer that has either competed or like played competitive in any way, right? Because to me, like, for example, I come from a shooter background, right? Like, I'm an FPS players. I competed in Call of Duty. I play a lot of wagers in Call of Duty. And back in the old days, before MLG became a thing, we really only have certain wagering system like game battles, right? Or like UGC, like all these other platforms that allow players to kind of like wager against each other and put their
Mhm.
skills to the test without having like this major production or like this major league involved, right?
Totally.
And I think a lot of players resonate with that because it's kind of like building their own economy in a way and allowing them to build the risk fast factor within those matches, right? And also with Mismas in particular was such a refreshing addition to the TCG world, right? Because there was such a big saturation of TCGs in Web 3 to come in with a racer style game that really gives you that adrenaline pump and it's
Mhm.
so fast paced that you really don't have the time to sit there and be like, "Oh, what does this card do? Let me take 2 minutes to read it over," right? The players really have to be involved with the game and they have to
Mhm.
learn their cards, they have to learn their decks, so it's almost like natural decision making, right? Like you're just like, oh, there's a car I need to activate that right now because I'm falling behind, or I'm in the lead right now, I don't need to use any of my cars, I can save them up. You get me? Like that's the type of environment you have in there, and I think it's a very refreshing take. But we have our boy Nick in the chat. He's putting up some comments. He says UMG wager matches. You already know, man. You and me, Nick, we're on the same wavelength right there, man. We maybe we battle each other back in the day, man. He says used to run wagers back in BO3 because of the 18 plus rule to compete. Exactly. So a lot of players fell under that. We need a platform in order to wager or make this game a little bit more risky, a little bit more competitive, right?
I love the competitive gaming because my TCG experience was only competitive. And by that I mean I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh when I was 7, and I actually only played for cards or for money. Once I learned, I think by the time the first month was over, I had a mentor at the time, and yeah, like I was lucky enough to have a mentor at 7. He was like this guy in like his early 20s that used to hang around my building a lot, and he used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. So he would only play me for cards. It was kind of fucked up, but it was kind of fucked up because he beat me a lot, and I think like now he finessed the shit out of me. But it is
Was
what
his
it
name
is.
Kevin?
Nah, but we're still friends to this day, actually. And yeah, I would go to school and beat the shit out of everyone because I was used to playing against someone in their 20s. So, but I would only play for money or cards, whether it be school. I entered tournaments and all that stuff. So for me, wagering is like very, very key. I don't think you can really ever play any TCG and feel the pressure of it unless there is something at stake. Maybe that's just like my warped mentality with the situation. But for me, like MixMob feels very native because of that.
Yeah,
And
I think you're totally right, man. I think it's one of those things where gamers who are really competitive, they need that extra drive and extra pump to really make them feel like this is worth it. This is worth me going all in, like super locked in. I'm gonna fucking like destroy the competition right now. You get me? Because there's something else at stake, right? It's not just like your achievement or you falling down the leaderboard. Your money's at stake, right? So you're gonna try extra hard to get that win. And it's gonna feel so much better, man. When you win money and like you win some type of wager against somebody else, that win feels so much better.
Totally.
It feels great.
I remember that Smash was like that too with money matches because people would throw like big pulls of money on the line just for one battle. Like it wasn't even a tournament, and it was like a side event. It was a whole like pride thing too. And it was people that like, oh, I could beat you, like, in any scenario, I can beat you now because we have to go through bracket traditionally, but right now I'm just gonna play you one-on-one. And you would see people like actually upset some people and take some money.
Yeah,
totally.
So that was the beauty of back in the day, man. Back in those days, it wasn't like skill-based matchmaking where you're gonna pair it up with the same skill as you, right? It was just like you're either good or you don't, and you're gonna battle it out, and you may get against the Scumpy of the world or like whatever top player in league, right? Like, but you have the same chance. You may find this new player that's out there, and it's an absolute beast, and they just came in and like wiped out everyone, and it's like that's the beauty of competitive play, right? Like you can have those chances.
Yeah. Like in the 2nd grade, I almost got stabbed for beating someone. So there was this kid in my class, and he had a Jinzo deck, and I always ran a Blue Eyes deck because I just knew the deck like the back of my hand. Flew to Summoning Dragon, Lord of D. You get the Blue Eyes out, like you know how to roll with it. And he was this kid. He was a troubled kid. And everyone told me he was crazy. And I was like, nah, he's fine, man. I'll go up against him. He kept saying he was the best Yu-Gi-Oh player in the fucking school. So I was like, nah, I got him. I beat him, and he brought a box cutter the next day and was going to stab me. Luckily, we actually found out, and like he got expelled and everything. And like my mom had a hunch because I told her about it. And I was like, he was like really mad. And she's like, maybe we should like call the school and check up on the situation. They like went through his bag and shit, and I was actually gonna potentially get stabbed. So like yeah, dude, it's like that's my TCG competitive story. Like I have a lot of them. But that was like the most memorable.
Yu-Gi-Oh dark stories coming out of Missy there, man.
Yeah, bro.
You should write a book about them, and that sounds wild.
When people tell me like how competitive can you get, obviously I wasn't the one that was. But I was willing to get stabbed apparently for like competition, right?
So I love it.
Yeah, so
I love it, man.
I love it.
It's the heart of the card, man. You were really believing in that. That's awesome. Hey, but while we're in the topic of like wagering and stuff, I did want to get a little bit into the MixMob economy, right?
Yeah,
and like, kind of get into the conversation of like how players can really earn inside the game, right? What is the use of what they're earning? Like because I know you guys just had the token launch too, right? So can we get a little bit into that? Let's talk a little bit about the economy and how you can earn inside MixMob's. Can you talk a little bit about that, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Nick. Thanks for the comments, Nick. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Love you, brother. So, real quick, so the way the economy works is, and what you guys were saying, you nailed it. Like that's the spirit behind MixMob, is to bring back that. When I was growing up, I grew up in Colombia, right? And similar to Missy, there was always this idea of, when you play either for your cards, or you play for money, or you play for something. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
the interesting part is that in some parts of the world, wagering is not seen as, like, there's some stigma to wagering, but in some others, like in Colombia, you wager for the social aspect of it and for the fun of it. Even when you're playing soccer against the other team, you at least put like like whoever wins pays the drinks for the other team, and it's just a social component, but it brings that bit of an edge, bit of fun to it. And what you guys just mentioned is exactly right, like what we wanted to bring to MixMob, and crypto facilitates this so nicely. And so now, to answer your question about the economy, couple of things. So the first thing that we realized, and how we were talking a moment ago, is that the models that were out there before MixMob, and the pain from the players, was that they're not sustainable, right? And so when we started thinking about the economy, we're like, okay, what is out there that is sustainable? And real money has done this beautifully. Like when you play poker and things like this, and skill-based games, they are sustainable games, right? Why? Because one person puts something in, the other person puts something in, and then the house takes 10% of that rake, and then the rest goes to the players. And so that's a sustainable model that you don't need new tokens to pump and pump and pump. So we're like, okay, let's bring that. And by the way, guys, and everybody that is listening, skill-based gaming in mobile right now, it's one of the fastest growing industries right now today. And with the pains that come with skill-based gaming, which is that when you get paid, it takes a long time, all the taxes that you get, all the fees you have to pay. But with crypto, it's instant, fast. It solves so many beautiful problems for skill-based gaming. So our economy is very based on that. And the way it works is, we've come up with two tokens. And I know everybody that's listening, that it's in Web3, they understand that there's two tokens. The ones that are new to crypto, they will be like, okay, they're similar to Web2 games, in the sense that you have your in-game token and you have your, let's say, VIP or premium currency. So we took that model, and the innovation here that we're bringing to the space is that our in-game token is very similar to a Web2 traditional, like V-Bucks or like a traditional token, but it's on the blockchain and it's soul-bound. So what that means is that you keep all the transparency of the blockchain, you can see it, but clouds cannot send that token to Crypto Hado or Missy, for example. It just stays in the game. But what clouds can do, it's through the game, you can swap that token for our MXM token, which is our governance main blockchain token that is ruled by market forces. And once you swap it, then you're free to do whatever you want. You can just go and explore the crypto grand scheme of things. And that's where it happens instantly, right? And the cool part is, and this is the analogy I give everybody. So when you're playing poker, for example, right? You come in, you buy chips. So picture our in-game token like these chips. You play your game in the room, in the poker room, at the poker table. Let's say you win a bunch of chips. And then what you do is you cash those chips in for your real money. And then the problem here, and the opportunity for MixMob and for everybody that is developing in the space, is then they take that money out and then they go put it in the bank, for example. But what we're doing here at MixMob, we're saying, hey, 1 second, why don't you leave that money here, stake it, and we give you, part of the staking pool, the price pool for that staking is fees that we collect in the poker table. So instead of going and putting it in the bank, leave it in this poker table that you love and collect more chips. And so at a macro level, that's how it works.
That's beautiful, man. And I love when projects figure out a way to dumb down the explanation, right? Like, and really make it simple to understand, because I feel some people need to understand that having your money in the bank is not necessarily always a good thing. right? That money is just kind of sitting there, and the bank is circulating it, right, and moving it around wherever they need to, and your money is just never growing. So if you have a way to, like, for example, in MixMob's cases, right, stake your money, and essentially you're building interest in your own revenue, right? Because now your big pool of ships that you got from the casino, right? If we're going to the poker analogy, right, now it's staying in the casino and it's being staked, and you're basically building reciprocal income, right, through these fees that are being added to the matches that people are playing and all this other stuff, right? So it's really cool. But I wanted to pick your brain on something real quick, because you mentioned two things that I wanted to touch on. You mentioned that currently skill-based players have the issue of, like, when it comes to taking out their winnings, right? It's extremely difficult. It's a very lengthy process because you do have taxes to worry about, you have fees to pay, all these other things that players are really not thinking about or prepared to deal with when it comes to, like, oh, I'm gonna get my earnings, right, and I'm expecting this amount, right, and then they get something else. But you mentioned that crypto kind of fixes that and makes it easier, right, because it's instant. Now, do you believe that comes with a level of education for, like, new users that don't really understand how conversion really works? Or do you think that now we're currently in a stage where we're past that education level, and now it's up to the teams to develop ways to numb that down and, like, make it way easier for the consumer, and have ways to internally convert their earnings, right, all within the game, kind of like what you guys are doing? What are your thoughts on that? Because I do have certain friends that come from the traditional gaming world and they're in esports, and they, some of them have dabbled with Web3 earnings and they've earned some money. And when they go take it out and convert it, or they have to go through some certain change to, like, bridge that token that they want into, like, actual real money, USD or, like, stables, right? They've gotten really stuck in certain steps. So where do you think we stand as an industry, right, in blockchain with that type of conversion?
Totally. And I think as an industry, regardless of people's belief in terms of, like, hey, crypto gaming now, it's been 3 or 4 years, it's so saturated. It's not really, like, it's such a new industry. We're so early. What's happening now is that only the few games that have been building from the beginning are only just starting to come out, really. And so we're so early, and our job, like you nailed it, our job as an industry, like what you guys are doing, what MixMob is doing, is to always be sharing that knowledge on how to do it in this new kind of economy world. Like, the way, at least our philosophy is, there's two worlds now. There's the traditional financial, like, fiat world, and now there's the crypto world. And our job, all of us that are here and everybody that's listening, is to really take this crypto world and elevate it and keep sharing the message, etc. Now, what I'll say about that too is, what we've realized, at least on MixMob, is we're doubling down on crypto and the crypto user. And by that, we mean, like, there are at a macro level, three types of users. There is the crypto gamer, there is the crypto curious, and there's the crypto hater. And so from MixMob's side, the crypto hater, we're like, okay, we get it. You don't like it. We're not even going to worry about you, right? Like, we respect your choice, but we're not for you, basically.
Yeah, you're not a target audience.
Exactly. We're not for you, and we respect your choice. But we
stay poor. Have fun staying poor. Go ahead.
You chose poor today. Choose rich, guys. Choose rich.
Right? Like, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so have fun, do your thing, right? But for the crypto and the crypto curious, these are the ones that we spend a lot of time, and we want to make sure that it's very clear, the message, to your point. So we do that kind of edutainment, I like to call it, right? To make sure that the crypto curious understands that, hey, this is not as obscure or as underground, or like, this is actually now a pretty open, understood concept of crypto. There's a lot of, like, legalities now. There's a lot of things that are pretty legit, that you can come in, you can, like, to your point, one of the biggest, I was big on esports, did a lot of interviews for esports on FIFA and also on PokerStars. And one of the biggest pain points, and I play poker competitively, one of the biggest pain points is, you win, and then you have to wait for your payment, like 30 days. And in esports, sometimes 6 months. Sometimes the sponsor of the contest or of the tournament doesn't even pay you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and what's bad about that is that there's no representation to the players, really. You know, unless you're associated with like a big org or something like that. It's not like you have like a lawyer in place for you waiting. You know, a lot of these things are independent contractors, you know, situations, and a lot of players get really messed up by contracts and stuff like that.
That's why esports needed hoodonomics. You get a debt collector.
I love that term, man. That's so good.
Yo, shit, Debo coming.
Definitely.
I love it.
In the hood, no one's going unpaid. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yeah, man, but no, to keep on touching on the economy side, right? Like I personally love that you guys. So one of the issues that we continue to see in this space when it comes to the economy side, right, or like tokenomics when it comes to games, right, is that some games just seem to like use that as a way to attract a crowd that lives here in Web3, right? And they start marketing these approaches, right? Like, oh, like we have this in the economy, like we want to do this, we want to do that, but they have no clear way of how to get there or like what purpose these tokens that they want to release have, right, within the game. And to me, it's really refreshing that you guys have figured that portion out, right? Like you figured out why these two tokens exist, what is their purpose inside the game, right? And on top of that, you facilitated a way for gamers and users to have an easy approach on how to understand it, how to like earn it, and how to use it, right? So that's, you know, like that's a big W all around for me, because in my opinion, one of the things that we need most in this space is just easier solutions on how to get users to start using these tools that we have in our space, right? Or this technology we have. So props to you guys for figuring that out. But moving forward,
I'm a fan of the get good system. I get what you're saying for it, but get good, bro. Stop being a lazy bitch.
I'm with you. Listen. For those of us that have the will and the drive to just get up and learn new shit, you know, absolutely. You know, those are the people that are really gonna thrive, right? Like you can be involved into something in many different levels, guys. All right. Don't think that everybody needs to be at the highest level of involvement here. It's like the casual player versus the pro player, right? There's very different levels of involvement into a game. So if you want to be really, really successful in the economy system, then you have to learn it. You have to put the effort in. If you just kind of want to be like, I'm going to leave it up to chance, then the games have to make it easy enough for those people to still be involved. That's
absolutely. I think the stuff that makes me very excited about, like, as you break down the MixMob economy and as we have this conversation, like, you know, I'm only half kidding about the get good belief. I truly do believe that, only half kidding. Like, I understand obviously, like, I'm not ignorant. I understand the need for education. I just also do think that there's certain things in life that you just need to want, right? Like, when I was in middle school, I found a way to get my $15 a month to keep my WoW subscription. And I wasn't even like of the legal age to work. I still found a way to get $15 every month. So it's like, I think the people that end up having the best experiences in economies or in games or ecosystems were the ones that really wanted to be there, and there was nothing that was going to get in their way of being there. And that's why I love how crypto native MixMob is. Like, you know, at the end of the day, of course, you're going to have education, but you're also like doubling down on the people that are currently here because they really want to be here. And I think that's very important.
Love it, man. And just to add to what you guys are saying real quick, what we have done is doubling down on the Web3 or crypto native and the crypto curious, and also made it incredibly easy to access the economy and game. I'll give you an example real quick. So for anybody that comes in, we made it so easy. We partnered up with a solid partner of ours that what you do is you can buy our in-game token, right? SUDS, which is a crypto soulbound though, but it's still a crypto, with your credit card. So you come in, you put your credit card, you get your token, you're already in the game. We made it super easy for you to create an account. And so when you log in with your email address, we create a wallet in the background for you if you don't want to have your, custodial. So any semi-custodial, at any time you can extract that. But if you don't even know about that, you already have purchased your crypto with credit card. You have your semi-custodial wallet. You come in, you play, You can swap your sats for our MXM governance token. All incredibly simple.
And that's the beauty of it, right? And I'm gonna touch on that point real quick, but first I just wanted to shout out Beef Basted, man. Welcome to the show, buddy. Nice to have you here with us. I'm glad you're staying safe. I'm glad you're staying safe while driving, man. Definitely careful listening, but podcasts are meant to be heard on the go. So welcome to the show. And also thank you for all the tips that you gave us during rec, man. This man saved our life basically with the text recommendation over there.
I named my deck after him. It's called BB Was Here.
Nice.
That's right.
and shout out Jackie as well for always being in the crowd. Shout out Damien.
Oh, Jackie's in the house. All
Jackie,
right, but to touch back on your point real quick, Simon. It's super important that you mentioned that, because that's the part that I meant, that games need to make it really easy for gamers, right? Because then you're allowing me, and they're like, oh, they already created a wallet for me. But what if I want to keep it safer? Oh, I need a custodial wallet. And then you're allowing me to put the effort, like Missy was saying, right? Like I'm getting more involved to get more deep into this thing. And guys, just to close out this little segment real quick, do not take it for granted, all right? This space is a capitalistic space. If you're not taking advantage of the opportunities, somebody else is going to, and somebody else is going to win over you. And that's just the nature of the space that we're in. Whenever there's money involved, that's just the way it is. So if you really want to thrive here, definitely put in the effort in learning about the space, learning the technology that we deal with, and how to safely operate it. And that's the best way to handle risk management, in my opinion, but definitely take it at your own will, But moving forward a little bit, I wanted to touch on Q1 achievements, right? Because you guys successfully did so much stuff, man. So can we touch a little bit on like what was revenue like? What was the MixMob's sales looking like? How do you guys, what was the overall feeling for the team, right? Like, what was the emotions like during those times? Touch a little bit on Q1 as we're like, ending that quarter and approaching Q2.
Yeah, man, we've had a massive successful Q1. I'm so glad you asked that question, because it's been insane for us at MixMob and as an industry, really. So just giving you some kind of metrics in terms of what we have managed to achieve inside of MixMob. So what we're doing is every quarter, what we realize is the way we plan inside of MixMob is we have these innovation workshops. We're an innovation shop developer, right? So every quarter we have these innovation workshops that I brought from my experience at building Facebook games, EA, PokerStars, and we do these workshops to plan what's going to come on the quarter. And what we used to do before was we used to have an internal town hall, and then inside of the team we will like release the things that we achieved that quarter, what's coming, so everybody was involved. And this year we're like, man, we should probably do this with the community. Like, we build in public, why are we doing this inside, not outside? And so last Q1 was the first one. Was super successful. We had like almost 200 people watching this Q1 alpha call. And this one, the second one that we did, which just happened, you mentioned it, right? We had over 600 people, man, watching our Q2 updates, alpha call. And we gave them some of this. So I'll tell you what some of the things that we did on this the highlights for Q1. So we went from having 40,000, and remember, we're still in closed beta. It's almost like we call it incentivized beta. It's kind of closed but kind of open, where you incentivize this player to come but we're still not on open beta. But we went from 40,000 unique players to 100,000 players now. That was a big achievement for us in terms of players. From a social media perspective, we've doubled most of our metrics. So Twitter, Facebook, Discord, like Twitter was at 40,000. Now we're at 80,000. YouTube now is like 40,000. So our social presence is also growing, which is important because community first. Discord, by the way, at 30,000. Now we're like at 50,000. So what this shows is there's a social community there. And, we're so proud of our community. Shout out to Beef Bastard from the community. And so, we have a really strong community. Now, in terms of, so that's from our players' perspective, right? In terms of product, what we've done is we've launched our token, and, you guys mentioned it, and it was very successful for us. Now, I've been in crypto since 2016, guys. And what I can tell you, and, we were sharing this with the Alpha Call, is, man, in 2016, it was so easy to launch a token. All you did is, you have your token, You have a little bit of KYC with some of these massive exchanges, and they do all the market making for you. That's it. All you have to do is launch your token and get into a big exchange. That's it. You didn't have to worry about anything. There's no DeFi, etc. Now, to launch a token, guys, you have to go through 3 rounds of interviews on every exchange. You have to do crazy KYC. You have to put massive amounts of deposits so that you can be seen as a legit competitor and player. And then not only that, but you have to have market makers. You have to hook up the APIs with the centralized exchanges, the decentralized. Like now there's DeFi, so you have to have decentralized exchanges, hook up all the API. It's nuts. And so not only we launch a token, but we launch with 2 of the biggest exchanges out there, Bybit and KuCoin, right? So that was massive for us, and it was very successful. The other achievement that I want to tell you guys is, and this one is really important for us. We sold out our MixMob's, which is our kind of like Mario Karts, like the actual racing cars in our game, but they are robots, like I mentioned in our lore. And we sold out in 10 minutes, guys. That was freaking insane, right?
That's amazing,
Wow.
man. That's
Yeah, that
awesome.
was fun.
Congrats, by the way.
We were on the space together at the time, and that was a lot of fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
And we were live, right? Missy,
Yep.
that was insane, man.
Yep. Yeah, it was awesome to see, man. Like I was really happy for you guys, honestly, because like you could see just the overall excitement from you, Nick, Pavel. Like everybody was just so hyped. It was really cool to see. It was one of my favorite memories of that like that time period.
Right? We didn't know what to expect, guys. Like honestly, like I mean, we've done all our marketing and all push, and we were like, okay, at one point you just gotta let it go and see what happens. And that was incredible for us. And so in terms of revenues, we raised 2.5 million from that sale alone, right? So what that proves is that we have the community, we have the demand for our type of content and our type of in-game assets. And not only that, but in Q1, our game now, even we're in incentivized beta or closed beta, we haven't launched open beta yet. We don't have the full game release yet, which is coming. We generated $180,000 in fees from in-game fees. What this means is the betting, like the wagering component, which is the 10% that we get from that, the in-game asset trading, the the MXM to SATS conversion, we have a fee there. So we're already generating revenue here. So when you put it all together, we have a very strong product, very strong community, very strong business model to go full on.
Wow, a game that's talking revenue. Oh my God.
Woo, let's fucking go, man. You don't hear that every day.
Web3 fixes this. All right, go ahead, Klaus. My bad.
Hey, you're absolutely right, man. That's the one time we can say that and actually mean it,
Yeah.
But no, man, I just want to say huge congratulations to you guys for all those massive achievements. That's definitely not an easy thing to do, especially for a game that made it through and still is making it through the bear, right? I know people say we're in a mini bull, but I'm not confident still that we are in a bull. But nevertheless, it's been amazing that you guys have been able to do all this accomplishment, right, through the sentiments of the market. I wanted to touch a little bit on what you mentioned about launching a token right in 2016 into comparison now and how much difficult it is. Do you think that's due to the fact that the space is trying to become more regulated, or do you think that's due to the chains saying like, we've seen a lot of people like get really messed up, right, lose a lot of money, run a lot of risk into their economy or their financials? We need to put more of these laws or these steps in place to keep that security in place, right? What are your thoughts on that from someone that built in 2016 and someone that's building now in the current times?
Yeah, man, you nailed it. So 2 things. One is regulation and security, right? So all these exchanges are more regulated. They have to, I'm talking about centralized exchanges, right? You have to go through more rounds of interviews, and the selection process is definitely way, way harder than before. So that's one. Regulation, like KYC, is insane. You just get KYC the shit out of you, right? So that's really important. So yeah, one is regulation. The other one is demand, right? Like there's and supply and demand. There's way more tokens, so they have to be way more selective. And the other part of it is innovation. Now,
Mhm.
in 2016, DeFi didn't exist. There was no decentralized finance really. 2020, 2019, this comes into play, and fuck, now you have to worry about this other world, other side of the coin that didn't exist before. That is crazy, growing at a crazy rate, right? Like when you look
Yeah.
at DeFi, we look at our token DeFi volume it's crazy. It's almost like on par with the decentralized side of things, and it's a whole new world that didn't exist before, that you have to worry about a lot of things like the incentive pool and setting up the pools, and like it's insane. So the market makers, and so it's yeah. So those three things: regulations, demand and supply, and also the innovation that's happening with DeFi.
Do you think that's gonna help kind of like wash out the space a little bit of all those bad actors that are currently like, still around? Like, for example, in the sense of like, not a lot of teams are prepared to deal with all those steps, right? Or are
Totally.
even gonna want to put the effort or even the financial incentives that may come with that type of interviews, right? And like process. Do you think that's gonna kind of like, as we get more regulated in those form of things, right? It's gonna kind of like help wash out like all those teams who are not really seriously building, or like are just trying to like grift from the space, right? Or like not be serious about what they're bringing as a product to the space. Or do you think it's still going to kind of like, there's gonna be ways to find ways around those type of like systems, right?
I mean, if, from you're 100% right. It's gonna disincentivize a shit ton of people that want bad actors. 100%. Now, the thing with bad actors is that and I was talking to Pavel, our co-founder, one of our co-founders the other day too, and so the thing with bad actors is that they're always ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Somehow,
Bad
somehow they always find out.
actors are cracked, man. They're cracked.
And like, if they apply that to like, I mean, you know what I mean. But
Actually being genuine about the product.
you
that they
know what I
build,
mean? Like they will come up with crazy shit,
Yeah.
but they use it and that's part of like my philosophy is that we live in a video game, and that's the video game they come and play, and that's fine, right?
Yep.
But they are a bit ahead, and so they will always find a way, and so it's our job, as people building in this industry, to make sure that we show the legitimacy and the transparency, and also make sure that the way we do it, it's so good that it shows it makes it really hard for the bad actors. But I was telling back to the conversation I was having with Pavel, our co-founder, is honestly, like when people ask us what kind of job they should do, like teenagers and things like that, is like go into cybersecurity because you will make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yes,
want to
bro.
secure for
Most
real
definitely.
forever, you will go into
It-
cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, man.
It's a very hyper growth industry. And I actually wanted to ask you a quick question. Two questions actually. One to do with like the KYCing process, and then another one to do with DeFi, because it's very rare that I find a fellow person that might know about DeFi and Web3 gaming. A lot of people here don't. So the first question is, through the KYC process, like I personally am a firm believer, obviously, in the anonymity of Web3 and crypto, right? Like it's on the Bitcoin white paper, it's peer-to-peer transaction, decentralized, all that. However, I am KYC to my business partners and to people of interest. Like, I put my face on cam when I'm having behind the scenes meetings. Not like I have anything to hide. I just love anonymous personalities. Like Batman was one of my favorite superheroes as a kid. It's always been something I'm into. I've been anonymous on the internet since I was 10. So it's always been my shtick. But was there ever a moment during the KYC process where it was just absolutely frustrating? Like, what is that like? Because I don't think we ever hear those types of things from the project. So, like, with how much you can actually say, because we don't obviously want to put you in any awkward, compromising or anything like that. But how smooth was the KYC process? Was it really frustrating? Like, what was that like? Did it feel crypto native, like intrusive?
Totally, man. So I love what you're saying, and I from a crypto side, as a crypto native, that is really important to us, and hence why we have still the custodial side of things where you can, or in non-custodial, we have the choice, and semi-custodial, we have both, like all of them. So in the game, if you want to come with your Phantom wallet, your crypto wallet, and remain completely anonymous with no password, like nothing, you still can. But if you are like, hey, I don't know, I'm gonna give you my email, then we have that as well, right? So we respect that, and I love that. Like you mentioned, from back to the KYC, yeah, man, it was insane. Like there was nothing crypto about it, and the thing is, these exchanges, they are centralized exchanges. So as a project, you have the choice now with DeFi, which is pretty cool. You can just remain all DeFi, or if you want to go into the decentralized exchange, you got to prepare for, giving basically absolutely all your information to these exchanges for regulatory purposes and so many things. Like, by all information, I mean all your information, bank accounts, your business bank account, like everything,
And
That
that's kind of
is
what I meant with the
wow.
question from before, because KYC is such a um tourist term in Web3, right? Like a lot of people don't like KYC. That's the whole point of
Yeah.
them being involved in this industry. So to have to go through a process like that, that's what I meant by not a lot of teams following through with that, because a lot of teams are still like, well, we don't want to give this out, So
Totally.
really,
Yeah. The
really,
way,
really interesting. But Missy, I know
the,
you said you had a question about DeFi as well.
Yep. But Hado wanted to say something, so
I'm just saying, the way I see it, innovations being pushed overseas, we've already seen that happen with a lot of different blockchains already. But I think when the US and some jurisdictions get their head out of their ass and make clear rules of the road that are clear cut, like if you follow in this fucking category, you belong to this category, cool. Then everybody knows they're not breaking the law. You're laughing because of my hat, I know. Then everyone knows you're not breaking the law, and then there's not a surprise lawsuit from Mr. Gary Gensler, right? Which could happen at any moment. I mean, we've seen Sandbox being targeted, not even specifically Sandbox, but it's being taken off of a list of an exchange because it was promoting a security on the exchange, but not directly saying it's a security, right? So like a lot of these things are very confusing still, and I think the more they make it confusing longer, it's just going to push all these actors into other jurisdictions that have rules.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so for my DeFi question, I think one of my favorite parts about crypto, not Web3 gaming, but crypto as a whole, is how free it is to build, right? You could technically take anyone else's token and even build a protocol around it if you really wanted to. Like, we saw like the I would say like the inception point of DeFi kind of going somewhat mainstream was Andre Cronje with like Wired Finance, and the way he put all that together, it was really genius at the time, right?
Totally.
And have you guys had anyone like create a protocol that supports the MXM token? Is that something that you guys are looking forward to as the space continues to build? Like for example, something I would love to see in gaming is like if someone were to make a gaming like yield aggregator for people to be able to stake for better yield on their gaming tokens and things like that. Have you guys seen anything like that? And would you support it if somebody were to do something like that?
Totally. That's the long-term vision. Is the reason part of the lore is an AI culture, and what would you do? It's to support that vision. Like remix culture for us, it's the future of culture, right? And what that means is remix on intellectual property, remix on your crypto token, remix on everything, your game. So that's the vision. And you nailed it. Like, and inside of our tokenomics, the part of our ecosystem fund is to fund that vision in the future. I'll give you some insights, and I'm talking about future here, but the awesome part about having a token, a governance token, is that now we are starting to decentralize our ecosystem more and more, and we're going to get to a point where, let's say, for example, if Missy, Clouds, or Hado, they want to create a game for MixMob, or to your point, a protocol that supports the MXM, you not only can do it, but the ecosystem fund is there to also support that as well. And so that's one part. Then the other part is on an IP level, we have our MixMob's, we have our masks, which are kind of like our heroes in the universe, our avatars. So say Missy wants to start creating a story, a comic about MixPods. Well, it's decentralized IP, the ecosystem fund is there also to help support that. And you can also sell it inside of our ecosystem. And, we cultivate that remix creative economy at that level as well. And so the vision here is a hybrid remix economy and remix culture that supports an entire ecosystem.
Damn, we got to clip that shit. That was fire.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man.
No,
No, that was beautiful. And actually, I love that you brought that up because it brings a whole new level to the sense of community that you were talking about earlier, right?
Totally.
And I think going back to like the achievement of Q1, one of the biggest things that you guys I think achieve this throughout this process is building out that community, right? Building out that fandom for the game, because that's what allows the whole player economy to really like boom inside the game, right? And people to participate and take part of everything that's being built out in the ecosystem, right? Like you mentioned that you guys are already building revenue from all the fees that you're collecting from the matches and like the transactions and all these things. That's huge because that allows you guys to really have ways to meet all the plans that are coming up throughout the year, right? And we're gonna be moving forward to our next session here, which is talking about Q2 and your objectives for this quarter that's coming up, right? But before we do that, I did want to give out a quick shout out to our sponsor, WagMe Games. So let's go ahead and say hello to them real quick, and we'll be back on the show to discuss Q2 with MixMob's. Hey guys, this episode of the Catalyst Effect podcast is sponsored by WagMe Games, Web3's first universe encompassing multiple games, animes, collectibles, and more. Their current game, WagMe Defense, is a mobile defense tower game that is available on Android, BlueStacks, and Google Play. Wield your card deck, deploy characters, and defend your towers. Optimize your deck to launch attacks and dismantle your opponent's base. Rank victorious and emerge with bragging rights, collectible cards, and Nifty. WagMe Defense's universe is set in the year 3022 and unfolds in Nimash, an off-world laboratory serving as a backdrop for immoral experiments. Though the world may seem dark now, the choices made by players, whether human or alien, will shape the outcome of the Nifty Wars. Thank you to WagMe Games for being an official sponsor of the Catalyst Effect podcast. Now let's get back to the show. All
Is
right.
it ever weird watching yourself?
It is kind of weird. I wasn't here. I wasn't here for the first episode that we premiered that, so I didn't get to see that. Now seeing myself, it was kind of weird. But thank you to WagMe Games for being a sponsor of the show. Truly appreciate the support that they give out to the show, and they allow us to keep coming back and creating more content for you guys. But Simon, let's get back to the conversation, man. We still have a lot more to catch up on with MixMob's. I wanted to talk a little bit about Q2, right? And like what your objectives are, because I know in the alpha call that you guys had recently, you guys were talking about the mobile launch, and like we're all super hyped for that, obviously. And I know you guys have some massive objectives with that launch. Can you touch a little bit on what are your objectives for Q2 as it rolls out?
Totally, man. And so for us, with the success of Q1 and with the vision that we have, and we've always had this vision with the space, is that crypto mobile is where it's at. And the reason why it's taking us this long is because the industry before was not there yet to have a full game that is full crypto. And so the way we started, our vision is to have people have our game as accessible as possible. We build on web. So our game right now is web-based. You can come in, you don't have to download absolutely anything. 3D, it's like the what the team has achieved is insane. So that's from a website, from a web perspective. Now for Q2, we've been working incredibly hard to have our full mobile launch. That's our main objective, because that's for us, that's where it's at. And what we are aiming for is 1 million downloads of our app. So the good news is our app has already been approved for the mobile beta program on iOS and on Android. And it's still, we haven't changed anything about our game. It's as crypto as you see it on web. It's going to be on app. And that is a huge achievement because now we have the tool, the technology, some like the regulations are there, the app stores are there, and that's our full-on objective for Q2 is to go full-on mobile launch, which I'll give you the date in a second, and we want to have at least 1 million downloads.
Ooh, we're
Alpha?
about to get some days, some alpha here. But dude, I love that
Oh.
objective, right? 1 million is huge, right? And the fact that you guys are already on iOS is an extra plus, like huge thing, right? A lot of the time,
Huge.
yeah, a lot of the times, crypto games, I think it's Android store is just a lot easier to get approved for. It
Mhm.
seems like, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of games just decide to release their mobile launch with just that integration of Android Store or Google Play as they wait for iOS. But in my opinion, that ends up kind of hurting the accessibility to the game, right? And like kind of like that fandom that we were discussing as well. I think the better move is to like release it once you have approval from both and have that rollout be like natural and like available to all like users, right? And kind of like what Nick is touching on here, allow that cross play to be a thing, right? If
Mhm.
I can play with people on Androids, if I can play with people on the website on desktop, right, and I'm using mobile, that's huge, man. And I have, first of all, I absolutely love that you guys are a web browser game, right? Do you think that has helped you a lot, like the fact that you guys don't have to be on a launcher or like an exe download, right? Do you think that has helped you a ton? Because while a lot of games are getting on Epic and Steam, and it's a good thing, right? Like it gives the game a lot of trustability when it comes to user, but
Mhm.
sometimes they also run into the problems of having to comply with the regulations of those launchers, right? Like I know Epic has kicked out certain crypto games out of their launchers for some type of mistake in their, security or whatever the case may be, right? Do you think not having that risk of like having to deal with that has helped a lot with like user acquisition and just user retention in general, right? Because it's a lot easier to go to a website than have to download something or be on a launcher.
Totally. And for us, accessibility is the most important thing. When we look at some of the fastest growing games, like traditional sports, pickleball. I've been studying pickleball hardcore these days.
Dude, it's so popular.
It's
It's
growing
freaking
like
insane the amount of fandom that thing has. They just opened 3
I,
parks
I,
here in
I hate
Orlando
that
for it.
sport. I hate that sport.
I
Really?
hate it too because it's taking away courts
It
from
always
us
takes a
ball players.
basketball, man. But I understand the innovation and the business and everything. I love it from that perspective. But
exactly.
damn, stay off my court. All right,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Hey, that's the get good economy from this.
but it's accessibility. It's easy to understand. It's easy to play, and they are forming these leagues that are making it incredibly popular. It's so social because it's not as hardcore as tennis. It's not as simple as ping pong. It's like this very in between. But accessibility is one of the most important things. That you don't need as big courts. So when you look at that, MixMob's accessibility, it's key, and web allows us to do that. And to your point, it's so easy to onboard people with the way, because we want to be our own publisher as well. So 100%, that's helped immensely. And now what a lot of studios don't delve into, because it's incredibly hard. Like only big studios go into cross-play. It's because, like I said, it's incredibly hard. But now our team, we have a stack team. They've managed to figure out the way to do it cross-play between web and mobile. So you're playing on web, you're pairing with people on mobile. Insane.
Yeah,
And I wanted to mention, I just want to mention
No, go
real
ahead, man.
quick, iOS has 56% of the market share in mobile. So when
Mhm.
these Web3 games are just turning down iOS from the start, you're alienating over half the population of people holding phones. I know Android has 42% in North America. I'm just talking about North America, by the way. It's
Yeah.
a little bit different, in different places. But in North America, where the money is, right, you're alienating those people by not releasing it to iOS. So iOS is huge for
Well,
Web3.
it goes down to accessibility, right? Everyone in North America, I mean, I meet a lot more people with iPhones over Androids. You
Yeah.
get me? And that's like, it's what you're saying. You're alienating all those people by, and a lot of times it's not up to the games,
Totally.
it's not up to the teams. A lot of times it's iOS store saying no to this activations, right? And they have
Yep.
to wait, or they get placed in a waiting period that takes really long, right? So I think it's just more about strategically thinking your rollout, right? And thinking about, is it more important to really wait and roll this out when we have accessible to both iOS and Android, or do I just risk it and put it out for Android and then continue to incentivize the community in a way that I can keep them waiting until the iOS is ready, right? Because, for example, with MixMob, the beauty of it is that they're a web browser game. So even if you don't have it accessible on Android or iPhone, I mean, just go to the website, man, and play it,
Totally.
and that's a way to allow that accessibility for those players that are being alienated, if that was the case. But go ahead, Messi.
Well, the spirit of strategically thinking how you roll out. I've been made aware that a lot of the comments haven't been coming out. Someone DM'd me and they've been like actually commenting, and they're like, it's not showing up on the stream on X or for us to StreamYard.
Oh, damn.
So that's one. And two, as we were discussing strategic rollouts, we actually created a remix for MixMob, art-wise. What we do at Catalyst is we love to do art that is inspired by streetwear culture, where we make, bootlegs essentially of different things that we love, and we bring them to life in our style. So I'm posting it in the comment section here. I'm going to throw it up on the Jumbotron here in a second. And we did do a cover of, one of our favorite consoles at Catalyst is the PS1. So we at the Catalyst Effect like to do PS1 style bootlegs to honor, but we reimagined the current games in the PS1 style. So I'm gonna put that up on the Jumbotron, whatever we want to call it here. Yeah, or Clouds, if you could do it.
Are you going to screen share? Because I'm about to put this up, man. This thing.
Yeah, put it up. Screen share.
All right. Give me 1 second, guys. You're about to take a look at this beautiful thing that you can claim for free, by the way. Woo. So make sure you guys hit that link that Missy's gonna throw out. And
chat, you were here. You were here for this moment, chat. You were here.
Man,
this is it, guys.
All right, guys, check this out. Take a look. How sweet does that look? I mean, dude, if this was a PS1 game, I would definitely cop.
Yeah. So we wanted to reimagine MixMob as a PS1 game. Shout out to my brother Damien. We always work on these together. And this is what we came up with. We wanted to honor like that graffiti culture, but we also wanted it to feel almost like a monster game at the same time. Yeah.
That looks insane. This is what you made my day with this, by the way, guys. Like, this is why we invented MixMob. This is the spirit of it. This is it, man. Like, for everybody that is listening, check that. How hot is that?
Yeah. So these collectible Freeman NFTs will play, a future in the Catalyst ecosystem. We do plan on, these are collectible things that, as we continue to build out Catalyst and things that we have in the works, they will be redeemable for something. I can't tell you guys what that is, but I promise you, I'll tell you right now, we're not going to do some degen shit. It's always going to be gamer culture. But so yeah, just stay tuned. If you're a real gamer and you want to continue having real gaming experiences, then these are for you.
But Missy, like, just to add to that, and in the spirit of what we were saying about the ecosystem that we in the ecosystem fund, and these are the type of things that at MixMob we're going to be supporting more and more and more and more. And so if you have just the chat, everybody that's listening, you better get one of those, because not only you have incredible utility from inside the Catalyst, but these are the things that MixMob is going to be supporting more and more and more, so that we can all grow. And so let's talk about that, because that would be incredible, guys. That looks so hot. Amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, man.
We're
shout out
Damien.
Damien.
Like it, man. Yeah, and shout out to Damien. He definitely puts so much effort into those things, man. And he always kills it. And to the MixMob community that's in here listening, man, and the Catalyst community, guys, start collecting those things, man. Those badges are, like Missy said, they're gonna have a purpose in our ecosystem. And we are definitely looking to work with partner communities like MixMob's and stuff like that to collaborate with them on this type of things. So more to come with that. Stay tuned. We're not giving any alpha yet on that, but definitely get your hands on it while you can. It's completely free, so just hit that link and claim it, and you guys will have some cool collectibles to remember us by. And remember this dope episode that we're having of the Catalyst Effect with Simon. Woo. Man.
You got 3 hours. 3 hours before
3 hours, and we're cutting it off. God damn it! You heard the claps in the chat, you heard the man, the myth, the anime character himself saying it here. All right, 3 hours. Let's go. Let's get some claps in the chat.
Claps in the chat.
Listen, no.
Bad
I wanted
Bunny
to talk a
looking
little bit
ass.
more on Q2, Simon, right? So again, the million downloads, that's a huge goal to have, right? I think that's going to be completely awesome. Another thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we move forward is that you guys have done a lot of internal work, right? And I think that adds on to your success tremendously. One of the things that we haven't touched on is that you guys have an entire stream platform that is completely internal, right? Like you allow your community to have a way to watch these matches that is already integrated with your wagering system. And I know we didn't touch on that, but I think that has a major role when it comes to user acquisition as well, right? And user retention. Because now you no longer have to worry about like, well, it's a being streamed on Twitch, it's a being streamed on X, it's a being streamed on here. Now it's all done internally, right? With this platform that you guys have created. So I think that's huge. I don't know if you want to touch on that real quick before I continue asking you about Q2, but
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely do if you want to.
Yeah, totally. Super quick, guys. So that was, by the way, we built that in the spirit of building in public with our community. That was one of the most requested features by the community. They wanted to see, they wanted us to build something where people could watch the matches and the races, but not only that, but they could also wager, the in-game currency, right? To make it even more social, more fun, and then have a chat. And so we built this for the community and we put it as part of obviously our ecosystem. So what is really, really cool is, and not only we built it for the community, for everybody, for our players, added the wagering component, but we added to our tokenomics. So the way it works is, for example, Clouds and Mizzy are racing. You put your tokens down, right? And so you're racing. And this can also be in free play. And once, if the streamer picks your race, and let's say there is, I'm just going to have like an example, $1,000 in wagers in the in-game currency, whoever wins from you two, it's going to get, MixMob gets 10% of the wagers as well, the coins, the bets. Well, we share that with 5% of, like, half of our 10%, so 5% of all the wagers back to the winner of that race. So Clouds, for example, if you win, you get 5% of all the wagers, and Missy, if you win, same.
That's awesome, man.
It's all there.
Yeah, that's awesome because it allows also like content creators to want to be involved with the games, right? Like now you're allowing, like, here I am, I'm a streamer, I love playing competitive games, and now I'm able to stream your game in your platform and allow the viewers to kind of be more involved by like wagering. And if I'm a good player and I'm winning, that can be a source of revenue for me, as a streamer, because we all know how difficult it is to grow as a streamer, right? To get those numbers, for it to make sense, to get to a level of partnerships. This is a more way, like a way for you to get there faster, right? At least have that activity going on with your chat, with your viewership, so I think that's awesome that you guys managed to do that. But I wanted to move forward a little bit with Q2 and talk about the features that are coming up, right? One in particular that I'm super excited for was the 4-player matches that you guys talked about in the alpha chat the other day. Can you touch a little bit on that? Can you tell us a little bit more on it? Are you guys hyped to see like 4-player matches in the streams? What is that going to look like? How is it going to affect the competitiveness of the game and like the skill base,
very quickly, because I realized I was muted the whole time. If you suck, you also end up making your stream a lot of money because they know to bet against you. So it's a win, so the viewership would be peak, man. If you suck, really.
I'm sensing some hustling going on here. I'm gonna lose on purpose. Make sure you bet on me, all right?
All right, go ahead, guys. Go ahead. My bad. I just had to
Simon, kicking it back to what I asked you was, oh man, you made me lose my train of thought with that question, Messi. Dang. All right.
The 4-player
the 4-player matches. Yeah. Yes. Can you touch a little bit on that, man? And what are you guys overall thought as a team as you're rolling that out? Are you guys excited to see those matches on the stream? Do you think it's going to affect skill-based matchmaking in the game, right? Like with 2 more players in the lane to compete with, that's a completely different layout, in my opinion.
Totally, man. And so actually, before I go into that real quick, so we're big into mobile or casual esports. As you've seen, a lot of our tokenomics revolve around real money playing, right? Skill-based gaming. And so what I wanted to tell about the bets, the in-game bets, because these are still in-game tokens. Remember that. One thing is we did our esports event. This was March 23rd, so not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And on that event alone, we had over 600 or 700 bets alone. And the tournament was 1 hour. So
That's
what
crazy.
it's crazy, man. So what this proves is that the community, people really like this, and it's the social aspect of it. So, you know, and by the way, that event, we had 7,000 people watching that event in total, which was insane. So another proof to, and how we like to build is we like to do risk a lot of our, you know, theses and hypotheses, and these events, these esports events are totally doing that. Now, back to for players, to your guys' point, we're incredibly pumped about it. The reason why this is another feature that the community, content creators, partners, they all have given us feedback that they want to have this type of mode in the game. And so back to building in public with the community, this is how we do it, right? We listen, we get their feedback, and then we implement it. And this is it. The cool part about this is that you are on. We remember our game has free mode, but also has, if you want to do the skill base, you can go there. So for free mode, this is going to be so fun, and that's the goal: is to make it incredibly fun. You're just not only just it's not so zero sum. You can be second and still win stuff. You know what I mean? It makes it so much more interactive. But for the skill based side, where we're going with this, and this is alpha here for you guys. We didn't even reveal this in the alpha call. But where we're going with this in the future is teams. And so now you can have 2v2 in teams. And so Clouds and Missy versus Hado and Simon. And when we're 2v2, the strategy totally changes, because now
very different.
Hado can be more, let's say, for example, on the attacking side, and I can be more on the defensive, like, you know what I mean? Or I could be more on the attacking, like, it just becomes so much more dynamic. So a bit of alpha for everybody that is listening here.
Dude, that is amazing. I'm hyped for that. And you're right, team base will completely change the dynamic of that game, right? It's similar to when you did like double duels in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like when you had a partner, it completely changes your strategy, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But
That's gonna be perfect for Rec. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for Rec, but also what I'm more excited about is that with teams and just overall with 4 players in the map, right? Like in the race, MixMob has this thing where basically it's kind of like friendly fires on your own attacks that you put out can kind of mess you up if you're not careful.
Totally.
That happened to me in Rec and Missy as well. We ran into our own like wall hacks things
Yeah.
like many times, and we're like, what the heck is going on, you know? So it will be really, really interesting to see that many players in one race and the map just being completely filled with obstacles and like things to mess you up. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun that'd be a lot of fun to like cast and watch as a spectator too, because you can see like the type of synergy and team play between the two teams, you know.
Totally.
Yes, and one thing I will say about you guys' stream on whenever you guys do an event, you guys do a tremendous job at doing that, at commentating, making it fun, continue to be like, you know, what's happening in the matches, talking about it, talking about the racers that you know, the people from the community. So it's really cool that you guys do all of that. Now, with 4 players also coming in, I guess I'm gonna try to fish for a little bit more alpha here. Are we getting any new maps added to the game? So like for the free to play, for example, is there going to be like an addition to a new map to make it slightly larger, or is that going to still remain the same for now?
This is the alpha just for you guys, because we really, really like the catalyst effect. Yes, absolutely. You heard it here first, everybody. There's going to be new maps, incredible maps. And yeah, it's they are now tailored towards the 4-player approach. So it's going to be insane, guys. And remember, like, content with in Q2, what we're launching with mobile is season 1. And with season 1, there's new content, there's new mix spots that you can compete for. It's going to be insane, guys. And so now every season, there's going to be a theme, and there's going to be new content. In some seasons, there's going to be new maps. And now everything is tailored towards 4 players.
Dude, I freaking love that. I'm super hyped for that. I'm so excited for new maps.
Hold up. You knew MixPods. How does that work? I'm interested.
Like, wait, did I actually kind of missed that new mix?
Yeah, he said there's gonna be new MixMob's.
Wait. Let's we're rewinding a little bit real quick, sir. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Absolutely, guys. And you know, this is the cool part that we're creating here, right? It's there's no, and this is why I love crypto. There's no roadmap for what we're making here. We are literally pioneering this stuff, all of us here, and MixMob. And so what we're doing, and literally this is the alpha. I'm gonna give you just a little bit because we haven't released this to anybody, but in the spirit of, you know, being a fan of the Catalyst, here's the alpha for everybody. So the way it's going to work, you know, I'm just going to give you a little bit, is the MixBots. We have our 10,000 collection, and this new MixBot skin, which, by the way, we released it on the alpha call, looks incredible, guys. Like it's the season one. It's the inspiration behind season one is street culture and remix culture. So this MixBot, you should have seen the presentation from Robot Soda, our co-founder and art director, takes into place like bits of like pop culture, rap, hip hop. Like, so you have the Biggie crown, like, you know, gold crown. You have like G-Shocks on the MixBots.
Yeah.
You have like cool jackets, hip hop jackets. You have glasses. This MixBot looks freaking incredible, and there's gonna be different rarities. Now,
oh, that's beautiful.
It's
Can't
gonna be
wait to see
insane.
that. Yeah.
Insane. So here's the thing. The MixBot, the way, and this is a bit of alpha. So that MixBot, the way you can access it is either by being one of our partners or by playing the game. And every time you win or even you lose, you're going to get a MixBot part. So you're going to get like an arm. And if you collect, let's say there's going to be tiers. Like, let's say if you collect 20 arms, 20 crowns, 20 legs, 20 bodies, then you can exchange that for the MixBot. And depending on how many you collect, you can have different rarities.
The rarities, yeah.
Exactly. Now, check this out. That MixBot doesn't add to the collection, like in terms of quantity. That MixBot, you can use it as a skin in the near future for your actual MixBots. So it's going to be almost like a skin.
It's like a wearable.
It's a wearable that you can pick the crown and put it in your actual MixBot. You can pick the G-Shock.
Oh, that's
sick. It's gonna be interchangeable almost. So, like, wait a second. Okay, hold on. Now we're getting into a whole new world right here.
So
man.
it's like
we
accessories.
just added another hour to the podcast, guys. Hold up a second. So does that mean, so as you guys, because you mentioned earlier, you're gonna do thematic approach, right? Where every like almost every season, right? Every quarter, you're gonna have this new like season, this new theme that you're gonna follow, right? As you release more MixMob's or more skins, are players going to have the capability of saying, well, I want to wear the crown for the first season, and then I'm going to wear the G-Shock from the second season. I'm going to be rocking the shoes from this MixMob, and can I create their own skin variations that way?
You got it.
Oh my god, dude,
but you have to have
awesome.
But you have to have your MixBot. And
well, yeah, you have to have the original one.
The original. Yes.
That is freaking dope.
And guys, remember, this is the alpha. We haven't released this. We're gonna release all the details of how this works, and this is our first test. But this is how we actually are able to mitigate all this stuff, you know, with the collection without diluting it. And we believe that this is the way moving forward.
Dude, that is freaking awesome.
That is, I love it. I think
that I'm super excited for. Yeah, and another thing that I'm super excited for when you mentioned the thematic approach is that it brings kind of like a battle pass component into the game, right? Like, it's like, I know what I'm grinding for. I need to freaking win races so I can get this arm pieces, this 20 leg pieces, because I want the highest rarity that I can get. You
dopamine.
know? And that's when you start getting that dopamine effect of showing your cool shit inside the game, right? Like, and that's what gamers care about. If I can be the only fucking racer in MixMob rocking the highest fucking rarity crown on top of my head, I want that shit. You know, I want that inside the game. So that
sweat economy.
I mean,
it gets me super
crowns are very dear to us at Catalyst because the crown on the sea was actually inspired by Basquiat. Because I grew up in New York. We love street culture. We love all that vibes. Yeah, exactly. So so anytime we hear crowns, we always get excited.
Yes, sir.
And I've actually been playing MixMob this whole time, and I've been finding lobbies the entire time. So it's actually always great to have a game that you're always like constantly finding matches in. And you're
Yeah.
not like just sitting there the whole fucking time. So shout out to you guys.
And it's fucking fun, dude. If you haven't played the game, trust me, you're going to having adrenaline rush. You're going to curse. You're going to rage. You're going to have fun. Like if you don't believe me, go watch the first episode, right, that me and Missy did, and see the amount of raging moments that we had in that game.
That was so fun, guys. You guys smashed it. And yes, Missy, to your point, like now with player, remember we're still in between closed beta and open beta. We're calling incentivized beta. But what we're addressing now is player liquidity. There's more players. There's more matches happening. And once we go this with full open beta, when we launch our mobile app, it's going to be insane.
So I want to ask something here. I want to get into a topic here that is kind of relatable to this, right? I want to talk about the Glitchpods, right? Because I think, in my opinion, this could be a very key role that can be so well integrated with the skins that you guys are producing, right? And I don't know if you guys, this is part of the plan for you guys, or if you guys have thought of this, but when I saw this, so Glitchpods, correct me if I'm wrong, is a way for players to get a little bit more incentives inside the game, right? You can get things like rare stickers, other cosmetical items, right, that are in there, but all in the form of the stickers that you can put, right? And that reminds me a lot of the CSGO cases, and how in some CSGO cases you can earn stickers. And then what that does is, at least in CSGO, it allows the players to create their own skins. Why? Because I may not have a super rare skin, but if I can put like 45 of my holographic stickers from, like, Championship 2 of whatever CSGO league, right, on my skin, and make that skin a lot more interesting and more pop because it has all these holographic stickers on it, then I'm super happy with that as a player, right? Are you guys going to allow players in MixMob's to use their stickers on skins, for example, or like have some type of usage other than just seeing like the stickers in their collectibles, right?
Totally. So two things. And here's, we released this on the alpha call. The first thing is, when you collect all the sticker collections,
Mm-hmm.
we are about to give to everybody that collected the full sticker set. There's 1,130,000 such, which is about 150,000 MXM, which equals to about like 100. I mean, it depends on where MXM is at, but like between 100 to 150 bucks to all the players that collected those full collections. So,
Okay.
as a player, when you fill those collections, A, it's bragging rights. B, you're participating into the airdrops that you're getting for that season. And C, to your point, you're going where exactly we're going. You're going to be able to use those stickers to remix your masks, your mix spots, and be able to use them there, plus other cool things that we have planned for you.
That
Man,
is
this is
awesome.
gonna be such a cracked like experience. I'm genuinely like very excited because there's so much we could do with this type of stuff.
Yep.
Totally.
I love the combinations of it being limitless. Like that's exciting to me. I like that.
Yeah.
And guys, check this out. Like, all these stickers are in Magic Eden. So what we're realizing, and these are NFT, like SFTs, NFTs, right? So players, our community is going there. Like, there's forums and forums and forums inside of our Discord of player like swapping these like stickers, exchanging them, trading them, selling them. And this is the beauty of crypto, right?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Absolutely.
And it's just ways to incentivize the player base, right? Like, again, like what Missy mentioned, there's so much that we can do with this thing from a creator standpoint, right? Like a content creator standpoint.
Totally.
If you as a creator has a fan base, right? And now you're like, let's say you're a creator that's working closely with MixMob's and you have a partnership with them. And now MixMob created the Crypto Hado skin, right? Within MixMob. And now Hado can be like, hey guys, in the season, not only can you collect the Crypto Hado skin in the battle pass or whatever, right? In the model, right? But they're also releasing special special stickers, right? That you guys can collect. I'm going to incentivize one of my viewers that creates the best remix of their skin using this specific sticker, right? And you're just
Totally.
giving so much UGC components inside this ecosystem, man. And I absolutely love that. That's something that really gets me excited and it sparks a bunch of ideas, So super awesome that you guys
I
are
just
combining all of that.
Dude, I just want to say the remix economy idea is so unexplored, and like I found this AI tool where it has like a same concept of like you make your own AI tracks and then you can also remix people's and people can remix your stuff. So like to see that, if you know, going into a gaming sector as well, that's making me excited because I'm messing with it, you know, on these apps over here. So I'm like, yo, this is just amazing where this can go.
Well, I
Man,
mean,
and
we see the trendability with that. Like we're
Yeah.
seeing it with the trap, with the not the Travis Scott, but with the Lil Yachty video that everybody's doing their AI that's coming
Yes,
out, right? Like it's
yes.
everywhere. So
everywhere.
yeah,
Now imagine this. Imagine you could remix the Little Yachty video and you could sell it. But when you sell it, Little Yachty through blockchain, because remember this also gets the royal like
yep,
like
a
an
royalty.
NFT,
Yeah,
the royalties, and it's all. This is the vision, guys. Like that's where we believe we can solve. And right now, we're building all the infrastructure and ecosystem and IP to get there.
yeah. No, and I think more IP integration, like when it comes to IP ownership, is going to be a major thing in blockchain eventually, you know. And I was getting
100%.
into a debate with a buddy of mine that's doing like a music NFT collectible.
Mhm.
And I was telling him, I'm like, when this reaches a level where people can have some type of IP ownership into beats or music that they can use into their own content or monetize it in some way, that's really going to change. It's going to change the industry overall because now, like, how many streamers do you know that don't want to use a certain artist's music because of DMCA,
Totally.
things or like being afraid of getting an IP infringement, right? Like all the type of stuff that kind of goes out the window if you allow some type of ownership within that IP, you know. So really cool
Absolutely,
stuff that you
dude.
guys are exploring in that area, you know, and decentralizing the IP rights for the user base to kind of be more involved and be able to monetize it in some way. So props to you guys on that. I wanted to keep moving forward here and talk a little bit about the rewards that are coming with all of this rollout, right? Let's start with the leaderboard because I know you guys have a leaderboard reward going on and there's a little bit of changes on that. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, because we love these episodes, what you guys are doing. So here's the big alpha. May 7th, 2024. This is in less than a month. Global mobile launch is happening with season 1. You heard it here. It's
Let's
happening
fucking
Wow.
go.
mobile
Let's
May 7th,
fucking
2024.
go. Let's fucking
That's like
go.
that's
May
like 3 weeks
7th.
away. Holy shit.
It's coming,
Okay.
guys. We're working
Okay.
our butts off. And here's the other pretty cool thing. You can expect a huge, like, we're doing our biggest user acquisition campaign we've ever done across all our partners Brave, Facebook, Twitter, Unity Ads. We're doing all these partner user acquisition campaigns with Carve, Earn Alliance, Stardust, Drip campaigns, with Drip House, and the biggest guilds. You know, there are some of our investors, some of our biggest partners, YGG, Merit Circle, Ola GG, WGG, all these guilds. So it's going to be a very condensed user acquisition. We're going to go full on this.
Wow.
Absolutely love it. You guys heard it here first. May 7th. Be on the lookout for that, guys. That's right around the corner. I mean, I don't know any more excitement way to end April, you know, like May 7th, dude. I can't believe it. We're right there already. So
It's
guys,
coming,
get your
guys.
phones ready because it's gonna be nuts inside MixMob's with the cross platform and the cross play.
It's going to
I'm
be
Definitely.
nuts.
excited, man. I'm excited. Yo, shout out BB if you're still in the crowd or if
Woo.
you watch this recording later. The deck you gave me is cracked, man. Like honestly, I haven't lost all day.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah. That deck
Amazing.
was cracked. That was a really good deck. We had fun with that one.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, going back to the rewards a little bit, Simon. If you
yeah,
wanted to touch a little bit on the leaderboard rewards, and how that's gonna work out for players, definitely go ahead, man.
guys, yeah, absolutely. So for this campaign, here's what's coming. And you know, talking about rewards and leaderboards, what we're doing is we're incentivizing players starting from even early access of our mobile release. So next week, and you heard it here first again, next week we're going to launch our early access signups, and we're going to reward people for doing that with super cool stuff, including airdrops, including a super cool sweepstakes, prices. And so next week, turn notifications on. If you don't follow MixMob, just make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow the Catalyst Effect. And so that is happening, you know, next week, starting next week. Then from there, we're incentivizing players to download the app. There's going to be airdrops, part of our tokenomics from our rewards pool. It's going to come, and we're going to incentivize players to download the app. We're going to reward them for it. And then, so imagine early access rewards, download rewards. Then, to your point, you have the play missions, or AKA, it's kind of like our first iteration of a battle pass for playing. So now you're rewarded for having the early access, downloading the app, then playing. You don't have to win or lose. You're just playing, and you're getting rewarded from that through our play missions. And then if you want to take it one notch up, you will be rewarded for our leaderboards. And then you just go and compete in our leaderboards. There's going to be insane prizes there. And then the last level is you will be able to participate in our esports event if you want to. And we have insane prizes there. And so our MixMob World Clash is coming on May 30th. That's our esports event. Pre-qualifiers start there. It's going to be everybody on mobile climbing the leaderboards. So if you think about it, the whole funnel is there. Just to summarize it: early access, download, play missions, leaderboards, esports.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful. It's almost like a scaffold, right? Of incentivizing your users. Like you're
Totally.
getting the game, here's some incentives. You're playing the game, here's some incentive, right?
Exactly.
Like there's progression to be followed, right? Like with the battle passes, the missions. So you're gonna get incentivized for that. And then on top of that, you almost have like the side missions or like the side quests with having missions to collect the stickers, right? And there's an incentive for that. You get some MSM being incentivized for you collecting all those stickers, you know. Then you get more involved as you develop your feel for the game and you start understanding the game, and there's an esports event, right? And I wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit, and like what the rollout for the World Crash is going to look like, because I feel like that's going to be a really, really fun event. How are you guys? Yeah, the World Crash sounds like a super cool name also. Like I think definitely Catalyst is going to be in there participating in some way or form, you know. But how are
we
you guys
will. We will.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if I'll be in there personally, but for sure we're gonna be in there. You know, I'm gonna try my best to definitely be in there because I want to get some, some wins for my record. But and some class in the chat. But what is the build up looking for that, Simon? Like, what are you guys? How's the preparation for an event like this looking like? Right? What are some things internally as a team that you guys deal with to prepare for an event like this?
Totally. So here's what's happened. So our first esports World Clash was October 2023, last year. We didn't know what to expect, really, guys, and we had 3,000 or 4,000 viewers on this event, and like 400 bets, and top content creators participating at the time, and it was really successful. The feedback we got was insane. So we're like, okay, there is our thesis here adds up. Now let's do it again in the next quarter and see how it goes. And so we did it last quarter, and we doubled literally all our metrics. We had 7,000 viewers. We had like 800, like 700 bets, and insane amount of feedback. People loved it, right? And so now that mobile is out, now what we're doing is you can qualify. We have a 1 week pre-qualifier that it's open to anybody. And this is the beauty of it. MixMob, your point, like in the previous World Clash, we had a player from Philippines. She was like, hey, I just came to MixMob. I love it. I'm really into it. And I made it to the World Clash. And she just literally picked it up like a week before the World Clash. And so we're like, okay, if she can do it, and she just literally joined a week ago and started to picking up and level up, imagine what we can do once we have mobile and all of this stuff. So what's going to happen is, based on that success, we hire an esports champion. And shout out to Revenant here. Revenant is an esports champion from Singapore. He's represented Singapore globally in esports, and now he's our esports manager. And so now we're literally leveling up our esports and our focus on esports. And this is going to be our first event that is going to be, with Revenant leading it. We're going to have top partners. We're going to have Nick. Shout out to Nick. I know you're listening. He's been in charge of helping us from the first World Class to the second and the success of it. And now we have these two, key MixMob people leading this with the support of everybody. And what's going to happen is everybody will be able to qualify on mobile. So imagine accessible 1 million people, climbing the leaderboard, super exciting. Then qualifiers, then finals. Prices are going to be insane. We're going to reveal those soon, but it's going to be insane, guys.
Dude, that's freaking absolutely amazing. I always say this: esports is a very difficult monster to tackle, right?
Mhm.
It has so many different factors that take place that could affect everything, right?
Totally.
From making it sustainable to like profitability, be right, like making it profitable, all that type of stuff. Like, there's a lot of factors in place that can affect that, right? Do you think that uh that you guys have had like more success with that side of things because you've kind of built out the game surrounded by esports from the very beginning, right? Like, you've always had the wagering system in place, like the community really riled up around that, right? And really became a fan of that. And now it's more accepting of like a competitive scene. But also, do you think it's worth exploring like an open bracket concept like you guys are doing, right? Where anybody can come in here and have a chance at qualifying for this esports event and have a chance to compete? Because the reason I'm asking is like we see a lot of partnerships in Web3 with traditional esports orgs like Team Liquid, et cetera, right? And it makes me a little afraid that those companies are going to come in a little too early into our space. And when we have those major orgs in here, then it becomes a major league. And that's when you have like, things like team fees to participate in the league. And then you kind of like draw out like the everyday user, right? That is also might be really good at competing, but may not have a chance because they don't have $1 million sitting in the bank to like buy into the league, right? Where do you stand on that? Do you think, are you guys more interested in keeping it open bracket, or are you interested in attracting like the traditional orgs that we see in Web 2?
I love what you're bringing to the table right now, Clouds, because that's one of the key pain points that we're trying to solve. So, me participating in esports in the past, and big part of the team participating in esports. One of the biggest pains is exactly what you mentioned. Is so I grew up in Medellin. One of the top FIFA esports players is from Medellin. So I was talking to him. This was like 8 years ago, and his biggest pain point, and from all his friends, is exactly what you're saying. Esports are catered to the 1%, but there's 99% of people that want to participate somehow. There's 500 million people that watch esports and are each esports fan. So there's a huge fan base, but only 1%, and everything is tailored to only the 1%.
Yeah.
What we want to do is we want to say, hey, there's going to be room for that, but let's cater to the 99% and let's make it kind of like casual esports, what we call it, the skill-based kind of esports, right? And this is where we're going. And crypto democratizes this in a beautiful way. The way we're going is we're also democratizing the league. The league, if you own MXM, you're going to own part of the league. So the MixMob League is, if you read our white paper, this is where we're going with all of this. The league is going to be decentralized, open to anybody. You own MXM, you bring the league, you can vote, and this is where we're going.
And that's where I feel like that's how it needs to go back to. I feel like esports will be much healthier if that was the case, because now you don't have this big overhead that orgs have to worry about. Because imagine someone like Face or Uptick, right? These people have paid close to $30 million to get a league spot, right?
Yeah.
But then they're told like, hey, you're not allowed to get revenue from team skins, right? That we sell throughout the CDL, right? Like, so like basically throughout the whole season, all these users are watching and buying the Uptick skin because they want to represent their teams. These teams are not making revenue out of those sales, right? And they're not being allowed a way to do that,
Insane.
right? So it's really hard. It's a lot of pressure to remain profitable in that scenario, right? Because your overhead is so big, and that's a league spot fee without counting player salary, player traveling expenses, all of these things that you're gonna have to do to keep, your brand as popular as it needs to be in that 1%, right? So back in the days when it was open format, I could be like, hey guys, I'm getting together, me, Hado, Missy, and Simon. We're gonna make a freaking team. We're gonna go in there and we're gonna work from losers brackets all the way to winners bracket, and we're gonna take this thing in the bank, because we're that good of a player, right? And that's all that matters is how good you were at the game. And that's how esports became what it is now. And like that culture grew from that, So I love that you guys are
That's
taking it back.
exactly what would happen too.
Yeah, we would take it. We would take it.
100%, guys.
I'm confident, man. I'm confident. I'm confident. We'll be a world champion team right there, But I'm glad that you guys are going back to those roots because again, that's what I feel like the player base the majority of the player base really enjoys, you know.
Totally.
So, man, this has been an amazing episode, guys. So much freaking alpha coming from Simon. So much alpha coming from MixMob. So many updates. You guys are here. Some key dates that you have to look forward to. May 7th, that's the mobile launch rollout. May 30th is the World Clash. So make sure you guys are grinding MixMobs from right now, like tomorrow. If you don't have the mobile version, just go into the browser. Get in the browser, start playing, have some fun, start wagering in there. I mean, explore everything there is to explore about the game. It's an amazing game. Simon, always a pleasure, brother, having you on. It's been an absolute amazing conversation. Before we roll it out, anything else that you want to tell the crowd? Anything you want them to be aware? Any final alpha? You know, I know you love giving alpha in here. We love it. So please, man, the floor is yours. Tell the people anything they need to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Honestly, it's been an enormous pleasure. It's always so good to hang out with you guys. You guys are killing it in everything you guys are doing. I'm a big fan. So I wanted to start with that. Second thing, for everybody that is listening, if you just came in, just make sure you listen to this podcast. It's been incredible. A lot of alpha, like Cloud said. To end, just make sure that you follow the Catalyst Effect, you follow MixMob. Starting next week, we are going to release our early access sign up. You don't want to miss that because there is a ton of rewards there. So make sure you follow MixMob, turn notifications on, make sure you check our website, mixmob.io, and then go play from there. But sign-ups start next week, and that's going to kick off our entire rewards campaign for this queue. And like Cloud said, make sure that you have May 7th in mind, and then May 30th in mind for the World Clash. And let's freaking go, guys. Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely, man. I absolutely love it. Guys, make sure you check out MixMob's. Make sure you follow them on Twitter to stay up to date with any upcoming things that they have going on. Get into the game, start playing, guys. Have a lot of fun. Listen, thank you guys for being here with us. I'm Klaus, my boy Crypto Hato, Missy, and of course, Simon. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man, and giving us all this beautiful alpha. Guys, also thank you to our sponsor, Wipe Me Games. Make sure you guys check them out in the timeline as well. And until then, guys, we'll check you guys next Sunday here live.
Yo.
What's up? What's up? Did I miss something? Did I mess up? Oh shit.
Go ahead, I just wanted to interrupt you. You were like going too well.
Yeah, he was cooking too much.
I was cooking.
No. Shout out to Simon. Thank you for coming on the show, bro. Guys, get into those fucking lobbies. I'm racing. Gonna be racing a lot in here. I plan on kicking all your asses. Get good economy.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
That's
what we're calling.
Man.
That's what we're calling MixMob, the GG economy. Get good, bro.
Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt.
Guys, get your hands on MixMob and don't get wrecked out there. Make sure you're winning, not losing. All right. We'll catch you guys next Sunday here live on X. Until then, we'll see you guys. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Peace.
Ciao.